Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm unboxing something brand new and very exciting. It's the Potensic Atom 2. This is the latest ultra lightweight drone that's aiming to compete with some of the biggest names in the sub 250 gram category. Potensic has been known for their affordable entry-level drones, but it seems this time they've really stepped things up. The Atom 2 is promising serious features in a tiny, travel-friendly package. In this video, we're going to take a look at what's inside the box, my first impressions of the build quality and design, and what makes this drone potentially a game changer for beginner to intermediate and maybe including advanced flyers. Just looking at some of the features on the box, it's boasting a 32-minute flight time, 10-kilometer range, 8K photo and 4K HDR video, as well as loads of other features such as panorama, AI night tracking, 5x slow motion, as well as smart transfer. So without further ado, let's get into it. So here we go. This is the Potensic Atom 2. Just a quick disclaimer, this was sent to me from Potensic, but they aren't paying me to say anything or create a biased review. So this is a completely honest unboxing video. So you can see it's a nice white clean packaging, very similar to competition out there, I'd say. But yeah, let's get stuck in. So if we kind of remove this plastic packaging to start with, it's always so satisfying taking that layer of plastic off, just like taking that screen protector off of a new phone. Let's lose that plastic, lose the knife, and let's see what is inside the box. So that's great, very similar to how competition packages their drone now. It looks like they've done away with a lot of the plastic, which is always a nightmare, and have gone for a more sustainable approach through packaging everything inside the carry case. So that's always good to see. First impressions, that feels like a really nice bag. I really like when businesses start doing this, where they kind of remove all of that unnecessary packaging and boxing. It's just more sustainable. So yeah, well done Potensic for that. It's worth noting as well, this is the Fly More combo, so I'm not sure if this bag comes with the regular version, but this is the Fly More combo version, so it's just worth noting that. But yeah, this bag feels great. It's feels very durable, feels like it's going to offer loads of protection, and also it's just going to carry that drone nicely in a great little travel kit. So then we get inside of the bag here, and first out it looks like it's going to be the controller. So I'll take everything out and then we can kind of go through each thing individually. So we have the controller there. That looks like the charging brick with 2 of the batteries there. And we've got some spare propellers and other bits just there. And the charger wall plug. And last but not least, we have the drone. I'm very excited about this. Just check there's nothing else left inside the bag, but look inside that bag. I mean, that is great in its own right. It's got loads of padding and protection, and that's just gonna mean carrying that drone around is just gonna be super easy. A lot of the time I kind of find these aren't very handy, but this one looks particularly good. First up we have the controller, so I will just take it out of this plastic packaging. It looks kind of similar to their last one. Fold the antenna before charging. Okay, that's good to remember that. So that looks like the antenna there, which is different from the last one. Also, that feels different. That feels much smoother and much better than the previous one, I think. Yeah, that feels great. I'm not sure what they've done with that. It feels more concealed. The last one was a bit gimmicky when you were pulling that out, but yeah, that feels really nice. So we see we've got the camera shutter button up here and the record button, custom button 1. We've also got some dials as well, and I think those dials are new. We've got a custom button here and also another dial here. So I think those are gonna really interest me when it comes to testing this, see how those dials work. Assume that's the return to home button just there. And we've got the cable input. It looks like that's going to be much tidier. And also this bit here, I think it was always quite fiddly with the last one, trying to get the cable through here and into here. So that's really nice to see. And then we've also got the controller sticks, which I assume just screw straight in. Yeah, nice and easy. Screw the other one in just there. And look, that feels great. Side by side, you can see that is a huge improvement. One of the things I didn't like about this first controller was just that pulling apart just didn't feel right. Also the antennas kind of felt like a little bit, not weak, but it just felt like a likely point that might cause issues down the line. But yeah, I was super chuffed to see this upgraded controller. It's much bigger in the hands, it feels sturdier, it feels bigger. So I'm really excited to see how kind of that flies. The antenna's great, you know, that's so much simpler and it feels so much more rigid than the previous one. So that is definitely an upgrade. And my favorite thing that they've upgraded is that just feels so much nicer. It's smooth, it opens and closes so nicely, and it's very satisfying that it kind of opens together. I always thought it was strange with this last one. When you opened it, it kind of went like that. Kind of always looked a little bit strange. So that's a really, really great upgrade from this Potensic Atom 2. So they're also boasting a better battery life with this new controller. They're advertising a 5,000 milliamp hour longer battery life. It's also got 18 watt faster charging, so it means it can get charged back in the air much faster, and also a more custom experience. So hopefully we'll be able to explore that a little bit more a little bit later on. But I assume, you know, all these extra custom buttons are always so handy for kind of setting it up for how you like to fly, and you know, you can kind of hotkey each of these custom buttons to do certain things, so we can explore that a little bit later on. But from first feel and look, that feels like a big improvement, and I'm super happy with that. I mean, the difference is massive. If you hold the two in the hand, this one feels really small, it feels quite plasticky, it doesn't feel very ergonomic in the hands. You've only got kind of one dial here and I can't remember what that did. I'm sure it was kind of the pitch and that was it. So I'm excited to see what those second dial does on the new controller. But yeah, that is a huge difference, and even without flying the drone, I'm really excited just by that upgraded controller. So we'll get more into that once we are testing the drone. Next up, we've got the charging hub. We'll take the plastic out of there. And even the plastic feels good. So yeah, this looks very similar to the previous one, but I mean, there wasn't really much room for improvement anyway. It's one of those things that don't fix it if it ain't broke. So it's great to have that out charger as well, so you can charge your controller. And I assume then this power brick just plugs directly into there. You can have a USB cable come out of here and charge the controller, and as well as charging these batteries as well. So room for 3 batteries in here, and I'd be interested to know the stats of how fast these charge. And finally, we can see water's inside this bag here. I assume this is going to include all of the controller cables. That's the USB-C that goes into the controller, and that is for the iPhone. And then we've also got this one just here, which is USB-C to USB-C, which is the newer iPhones and most of the Android phones. So just 2 of those cables before. I remember last time, I think there was a multitude of cables. And we've also got here a spare set of propellers. So that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So it looks like we've got enough propellers, 2 spare sets of propellers for the drone, as well as the ones which I assume are already on it. Yeah, so we've got 3 sets of propellers in total. Then we've also got a screwdriver with the screws for screwing the propellers on or off. And here we have the controller cable. So this is what we'll plug into the side here. And that means that we can charge the controller while simultaneously charging the batteries. Okay, so now on the drone front, first impressions, it feels kind of a similar form factor to the last one. Straight off the bat, one of my favorite things they've probably done here is this strap for holding the propellers on. It was always a nightmare on the old one when you were trying to put it back in the bag and the propellers would just jam on the case. So that again is just a tiny little improvement. And what I love about it as well is just a simple solution. Some of these more expensive competitor drones, what they try and do is create a gimbal cover which kind of acts as a propeller cover as well, and they're always just such a nightmare to put on. So I'm quite excited to see how this kind of performs in the field, but first looks, it just seems like a great simple solution to keep those propellers in place. And then we've also just got their gimbal cover, which again, super simple, no frills. It's kind of does what it says on the tin, which is great without trying to overcomplicate things. We'll have to remove that as it's instructing me. And then it's kind of very similar form factor to the previous drone. It feels super light, obviously it's sub 250 grams, but if I compare them side by side to the previous one, it's almost identical. So let's quickly go over what's actually new with the Potensic Atom 2 compared to the original Atom. First up, the camera in the original Atom had a 1/3 inch sensor capable of 12 megapixel stills and 4K video. It also had an aperture of f2.2. The Atom 2 upgrades to a 1/2 inch sensor with 48 megapixel stills, 8K photo resolution, 4K HDR video, meaning better dynamic range, more detail and stronger low light performance straight out of the camera. It uses Sony's CMOS 1/2 inch sensor, which utilizes quad beta technology. This basically splits each pixel into 4, so while it says 48 megapixels, it is still a 12 megapixel sensor. We will for sure see an upgrade in quality on this newer, bigger sensor, and also a wider aperture at f1.8. A feature which I am excited about as a professional drone op is the introduction of P-Log, which is Potensic's flat color profile. This is great for those who want to color grade in post-production and also match footage to other cameras. So I'm really excited to test this out and see if it offers better latitude in terms of dynamic range as well as color manipulation. So next, the transmission system. The Atom topped out at around 6 kilometers. The Atom 2 introduces what they're calling PixSync 4.0, boosting the range to 10 kilometers and delivering 1080p live feed. In terms of flight features, both drones have quick shots, but the Atom 2 now adds AI-powered tracking modes like follow, parallel and spotlight with much more accurate subject lock. You also get enhanced creative modes like dolly zoom, panorama, burst, slow-mo and AI night mode for low light flying. So that could potentially unlock some great creative options. A standout new feature as well is the cruise control, which lets you lock forward speed so you can focus on camera movement without constantly pushing the stick. It's perfect for smoother cinematic shots and long tracking sequences. It is worth mentioning that we don't get any obstacle avoidance on these Atom drones. The controller is a big upgrade too. It now features customizable buttons and dials, a much better 5000 mAh battery and 18-watt fast charging, gives you up to 4 hours of operation per charge. You also get access to the new Potensic EVE app or EVE app, which has a refreshed interface, flight log playback, smart transfer for faster file downloads and multi-device support. Flight time is similar at around 32 minutes. Now let's talk about pricing, because at this price point nothing really comes close. The Atom 2 standard kit sells for $369 US or around £299.99 here in the UK. Step up to the Fly More combo, which is the one we've been showing here, which includes the extra batteries, charging hub and a shoulder bag, and you're looking at around $495.99 or roughly £399.99. For comparison, the original Atom Fly More combo came in at around $359 or around £319. Seriously impressive value, and right now it's hard to beat. So overall, the Atom 2 isn't just a minor refresh, it's a proper upgrade across the board. Better image quality, smarter flight features, smoother controls, and a much more refined overall experience. Always have to remember to fold these propellers in the right order. If you fold them in the opposite order, put the back ones up first, you won't open the front ones. So yeah, just always remember to open those front ones first and then the back ones after. But yeah, it's just crazy when you hold these sub 250 gram drones, you feel how light they are. But yeah, it's a good looking drone. It's a great little form factor, and I'm excited to get it powered up, and we'll get it connected to the controller. So before we can turn the drone on, you'll note on the batteries it asks you to charge the batteries before use. So I think realistically they just need to be plugged in, but obviously before you fly you want to give it a full charge. So we'll just go ahead and test out the charger then. So I'll plug this cable in, and hopefully if we just plug this into here, we're going to get some lights on there. That looks good. And let's just see as well, just the charging as well. So I'm trying to remember where the cable is, just there. And look at that, all charges off of one hub, which is great. So we'll also just replace this battery. Hopefully now this is going to be activated and we'll be able to turn it on. And to turn these drones on, it's just the same, hold that there. Look at that. Okay, so it's worth noting it's actually a new app that this Atom 2 uses. It's called Potensic Eve or Potensic EVE. I thought it was going to use the previous one, which was Potensic Pro, but found out that actually, yeah, so you need to download this one, Potensic EVE, on the App Store. And we're going to go ahead and open that up. Nice little introduction video there. But in the meantime, while that is loading, we're going to set up the controller, and you're going to have to choose the right cable that's right for your phone. I'm using the iPhone 15, so it's got the USB-C. So we're just going to plug that into there, and then we're just going to leave that there for the moment. Okay, so we've now registered an account with Potensic, and it says up here smart transfer drone found, so hopefully that's going to mean it's going to be an easier connect. I remember the last time it was a little bit difficult to connect to these drones, so hopefully they've improved that. But first we're just going to get it inside the controller. So we're going to put the USB-C into the bottom of my phone, and then we're going to fold out that and just pop the phone into there. And I mean, already guys, that is just such a huge improvement, just the ergonomics of it. You know, I appreciate that they don't have a screen built in, but for the price you pay to have a controller of that build quality is just brilliant. And you know, the iPhone screens are so good now that will probably almost rival or better than a lot of the screens that you'll probably get on other drones. So I'm going to go ahead now and connect here. It's found it straight away, so we'll push connect. And then it's just asking me to confirm the connection, just to push that button there. And straight away, it's asking me to join. And that was just so much less painful than the previous version. So well done, Potensic, on nailing that. You know, I feel like this is all about improving and competing with what's already out there. So anything they're doing to make lives easier for the price you're going to pay is massive. So really, really happy with that. So assuming we can just go into, oh, yeah, I haven't turned the remote controller on, that'll probably help. It's also charging my phone up as well from the controller, which is always helpful. So, you know, if you're out there and you haven't got much phone battery, your phone is going to be charged from the controller, which is always great. Okay, so now it's asking me to activate the drone. We're going to go ahead and do that. Activation successful. Okay, so I've also got this Potensic Care service, got 48 hours to activate it. So I'm going to skip that for now. Okay, so now the drone is connected and we're going to push the fly now. Okay, so let's just have a quick explore here. I'm inside, so the GNSS is obviously going to have some issues. Okay, just running through these tutorials, auto takeoff. Okay, so the compass needs to be calibrated. I'm not interested in doing all this. We'll do all this before we fly. I just wanted to kind of open this up and really just explore the menus and what's going on. So unable to take off, that's fine. So up here it looks like we've got a gimbal pitch. Oh, okay. So I'm just seeing what these dials do. So that top right dial is going to be a zoom feature. Let's kind of see. I mean, that's pretty cool. And I'm assuming that's a digital zoom rather than an optical zoom. And that's going to be pitch. That's pitch, and it's showing the pitch also just up here on the top of the screen. It just shows the pitch there. We've also got our satellites, the RC connection, the power of the battery there, and all our telemetry here, such as distance, height, speed as well. So let's go ahead. I'm just curious of what we can change setting wise. So we can change the shutter speed, white balance, manual white balance. That's great. ISO. And then we've got options. So raw photo, we can change the aspect ratio. I'd assume shoot by 4:3 as the sensor size. No photos taken. And then we've got our photo mode. So we've actually got a timer mode here. 8K photo. We've got bursts, bracketing. Bracketing is always helpful, especially with these kind of smaller drones, which don't have the best dynamic range. If you bracket your photos either 3 and 5, it's going to take 3 photos at different exposures, and then you can blend them afterwards, basically to create a high dynamic image. And then just single shot. So I think I'm going to dive into all these menus a bit more once we've got the drone outside and we can fly it. But in terms of first impressions of what you're getting out of the box, I'm super impressed. You know, like this controller is a huge, huge upgrade. I'm really excited to see what I can kind of customize these buttons as, these switches. So I'm going to have a play around with it now, and then I will create another video where we can take it out in the field and test how it flies, its reliability, and also like the customization of these keys here. But yeah, first impressions, you know, I think what people need to remember is for the money that you're paying for one of these, I think this is super, super value for money. So there we have it, the unboxing of the brand new Potensic Atom 2, and straight out of the box we can see this drone is a big step up for Potensic. Without having flown it yet, for me, the controller is the biggest upgrade. It feels so much more durable, it has better ergonomics, and I'm excited to test out the customization on the controller. The drone itself looks and feels very similar to the first Atom. However, under the hood, it is boasting some serious upgrades. It has the bigger 1/2-inch sensor, an 8K photo mode, 4x optical zoom, and an upgraded transmission system that promises impressive range. Also, the introduction of P-Log is something that I am very excited about. And honestly, for the price, it's going to be really hard to beat. The Atom 2 starting at $329 or around £299, and the Fly More combo is only $449 or £399. And for getting a 1/2-inch Sony CMOS sensor, 4K HDR video, 8K photo, AI tracking, 32 minutes of flight time, the upgraded controller, as well as all the exciting flight modes which I haven't yet tested, nothing else at this price point comes close. It's definitely aiming to compete with the big boys. I'll be putting it through its paces in the next video when I finally get to fly it, and we'll do full in-flight testing, and we'll be testing out the camera, the flight performance, stability, GPS hold, and also those flight modes. And we really want to check out to see whether it lives up to the spec sheet. So if you're curious about how it flies, make sure to stick around for that. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, give me a subscribe if you want to see the flight test, and let me know in the comments what you want me to test specifically, whether that's the range, battery life, wind resistance. I'll try to cover it all. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.